Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today for today's webinar. My name is Satya Tilenathan and I'm a settlement worker at Catholic Crosscultural Services. Catholic Crosscultural Services is a charitable organization that provides settlement and integration assistance to newcomers, immigrants, and refugees. We offer services such as one-on-one supportive assistance with immigration, such as permanent residence, visitor visa, family sponsorship, and Canadian citizenship. We provide information on housing, access to education, health care, child care, social assistance such as Ontario Works, Ontario Disability Program, Child Tax Benefit, Canada Pension Plan, employment insurance, and application for Trillium Drug Benefit. We also connect newcomer families to community resources, including link classes, ELT programs, and volunteer opportunities. We offer these services in over 30 languages and have offices in 4 locations in Toronto and 3 locations in Peel region. So feel free to drop by one of our offices close to you, call and make an appointment to see a settlement worker, or visit our website at www.catcrosscultural.org to find more information about CCS and the services we offer. The website's right here. Today's webinar is going to be a guide to your first week in Ontario. Moving to a new country can be difficult. Leaving behind family and friends can be very hard. Many things such as school, healthcare, jobs, law, even climate might be different from the country you're coming from. Finding your way in Ontario can take some time, but it's helpful to have the right information and know what to do. In your first week, you have many things to do. You need to fill out forms and provide documents to access important services such as Ontario Health Insurance Plan, OHIP, Social Insurance Number, and the Canada Child Tax Benefit. You don't need to pay for forms or get them filled out. You can simply download the forms from the internet and get assistance in filling them out from a settlement agency such as ours. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into your question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, which would be right on the right-hand corner right here. I'll try to bring them up as I present, but if I don't, we'll also have time for the questions at the end. Okay, so now without further ado, let's look at some of the things you should do in your first couple of weeks. First, let's take a look at the checklist. You can decide what to do first and keep in mind that you might not need to do all of these steps. You might not need to take all of these steps right away. For example, if you don't have children, you don't need to apply for the Canada Child Tax Benefit, nor do you have to find a school near you. However, you should take some tasks such as applying for social insurance number and applying for health card right away. So we're going to look at applying for social insurance number, applying for OHIP, which is Ontario Health Insurance Program, opening a bank account, applying for child tax benefit, and then we'll look at getting the map of the streets and bus routes. Doing that will assist you in finding a settlement agency near you, finding a community help center, finding an employment center, and locating a library. Applying for your social insurance number. What is a social insurance number? A social insurance number is a 9-digit number that you must have to work in Canada, as well as receive benefits and services from government programs. Every person who is a Canadian citizen, a newcomer, or a temporary resident will have a social insurance number. It's issued to one person only, and it cannot be legally used by anyone else. You're responsible for protecting your SIN. So store any document that contains your SIN and personal information in a safe place. Do not keep your SIN with you at all times. Social insurance number is only asked by an employer after you go through the interview process and you're about to get the job. That's when they ask you for your social insurance number, because you cannot legally work in Canada without a social insurance number, nor can the employer pay you without it. So until you're about to get the job, you don't need to show your social insurance number to anyone. What you need to apply for social insurance number. To apply for social insurance number, or to request a confirmation of your social insurance number, or to amend your social insurance record, you must provide a valid primary document that proves your identity and legal status in Canada. If you're applying for someone else, you may need to provide additional documents. So when I say if you're applying for someone else, I mean if you're a parent or a legal guardian of a child under 16, that's the only time you can apply for a social insurance number for somebody else. What are primary documents? A primary document is an official document that proves your identity and status in Canada. So if you're a Canadian citizen, you must provide if you were born in Canada, you would provide a certificate of birth certificate. If you have come to Canada and you're a naturalized citizen, then you would show a certificate of Canadian citizenship. Also note that you have to show the original documents. You cannot take photocopies. If you're a permanent resident, you must apply with your permanent resident card, confirmation of permanent resident, or record of landing. These are the primary documents that you should show. But if you are going to amend your social insurance record or obtain a confirmation of existing social insurance number because you lost it, then you can also use verification of landing and verification of status. That's the only time you can use those two. If you're a temporary resident, you must provide a work permit if you are a work permit holder. If you're a student, foreign student, a person who holds a study permit, then your study permit should indicate that you may accept employment or work or have a confirmation of work off-campus letter issued by IRCC. So if you have a study permit, your study permit should indicate that you can accept work outside of your campus. If you are a visitor and you have a visitor record issued by IRCC indicating that you're authorized to work in Canada, then you can also apply for social insurance number. If you have a diplomatic identity card and a note of permission of employment issued by Global Affairs Canada, then you can also apply for a work permit. So we just talked about who can apply: citizens, permanent residents, temporary workers who hold a work permit, study permit that indicates they are authorized to work, visitor record indicating that they can work, and also diplomatic identity card holders with the permission to work from the Global Affairs Canada. Those are the people who can apply for a social insurance number. And those documents would be your primary identity document that you require to apply for social insurance number. Second is supporting documents. So if you have a permanent resident with one name, and if you have another name that you use, you would need a supporting document. Supporting document is a legal document indicating the name you currently use. It's required if your name on your primary document is different from the name you're using now. So a supporting document would be a marriage certificate if you have taken your partner's name, a divorce certificate if you have divorced and you're going back to your maiden name, or a legal name change certificate. Applying for someone else. Parents and legal guardians who are applying on behalf of their children under 16, they will need, in addition to their child's primary documents that I mentioned before, which is the status in Canada, status document, they will provide you would need to provide your social insurance number, and you would need to provide your primary documents as well if asked. How to apply? Applying for social insurance number is very easy. Simply gather all the required documents, your supporting documents and your primary documents, and take them to the nearest Service Canada office. If everything is in order, you will get your social insurance number during your visit, and all your original documents will be handed back to you. Applying for Ontario Health Insurance Plan, OHIP, or Health Card, as we call it. The government of Canada and the provincial government collects taxes to pay for medical services and health insurance for Canadian citizens and permanent residents. The Ontario Health Insurance Plan pays for most basic emergency health services for residents of Ontario. So if you have a health card, you can visit any health service providers like doctors, hospitals, walk-in clinics with your health card, and they will provide medical services. They will check your health card each time you visit, so always carry your health card to receive medical help when you need it. However, if you're a newcomer, you have to know that OHIP does not pay for the cost of medications and dental services. And generally, you cannot get OHIP card until after you have lived in Ontario for 3 months. There are a few exceptions. You can apply for health card as soon as you can show that you live in Ontario, but you will not receive your card until after 3-month waiting period. To apply for health card, you need 3 types of documents. Proof of citizenship or OHIP eligible immigration status, which is a document to prove you're a Canadian citizen or hold another immigration status that makes you eligible for Ontario health insurance coverage. The second document you need is proof of residency in Ontario, a document that displays your name and current home address and confirms that your primary place of residence is in Ontario. The last document that you need is a supportive identity document, a document that displays both your name and your signature. Let me give you examples of some of the proof of citizenship or OHIP eligible immigration status. If you are a Canadian citizenship, like I mentioned before, it can be your birth certificate, or if you're a naturalized citizen, then you can have a certificate of Canadian citizenship. If you're a permanent resident, then your confirmation of permanent resident or a valid permanent resident card, record of landing. If you have other immigration status, a letter from Immigration and Refugee Board confirming convention refugee or protected person status. List of some of the proof of residence document you can use is child tax benefit, bank statement, property tax bill, utility bill, valid Ontario photo card if you have valid Ontario photo card, if you have a driver's license, and your income tax notice of assessment. Supportive document that you can use, which should have your name and signature on it. Some list of that could be your PR card, if your PR card has a signature, record of landing, confirmation of permanent resident, a passport, Canadian or foreign. These are some of the documents that you can use. To apply for health card, similar to applying for social insurance number, get an application form. Actually, you don't need an application form for social insurance number, but you do need an application for health card. You can get it from online or from your local Service Ontario OHIP office. I've put the website where you can get an application form and fill it out. Collect all the documents you need. So you will need a proof of citizenship or OHIP eligible immigration status. You would need proof of residency and support identity documents. So 3 documents. Take all of that. And take application and documents to your local Service Ontario OHIP office. So I've actually put Service Ontario information line phone number. You can visit the website to find a Service Ontario near you. Important note, you can apply as soon as you have the documents that you need. However, again, you will not get the health card until you're eligible after 3 months waiting period. There are some exceptions. For example, convention refugees and babies born in Ontario do not have to wait 3 months to get OHIP coverage. Well, while you're waiting for OHIP to cover you, or if you don't have OHIP, you can buy insurance. You can also look for free and low-cost health services at community health centers. Okay? Next, we're going to look at opening a bank account. It's a good idea to open a bank account as soon as you can. Decide what your banking needs are and compare services at several banks and credit unions before you open a bank account. In Canada, you have the right to open a personal bank account even if you do not have a job or have money to put into your bank account right away. You will generally need two pieces of identification to open a bank account at a bank or trust company or a credit union. Usually one piece must have your photo on it. So some of the documents that you can use, you need two of them. So say if you have a driver's license, Canadian passport, a certificate of citizenship, a permanent resident card, Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada form, IMM 1000 or IMM 1442, a birth certificate issued in Canada, a social insurance number issued by the government, old age security card, a certificate of Indian status issued by Government of Canada, a provincial health insurance card, or a document or a card with your signature and photograph. So two of these documents is all you need to open a bank account. When you open a bank account, you will receive a bank card, also called a debit card. This card lets you do your banking at bank machines instead of going to the bank. You can use the bank machine to deposit money, withdraw money, and pay bills. These machines are called automated banking machines, ABMs, or automated teller machines, ATMs. You must choose a personal identification number, PIN, to use with the card. This is a security number that prevents others from using your card. Memorize this number. Do not tell others your PIN. You must enter the PIN every time you use your bank card. Okay, applying for child tax benefit. What is a child tax benefit? The Canada Child Tax Benefit is a tax-free monthly payment made to eligible families to help them with the cost of raising children under 18 years of age. You should apply for a Canada Child Tax Benefit as soon as you arrive and settle in your new home. The Canada Revenue Agency decides the amount of your payment based on the number of children you have, their ages, the province you live in, and your family's net world income for the past year and 2 prior years. You can get an application form from Canada Revenue Agency at CRA website. I have provided right here. You can write it down. And download the fillable, savable application and fill it out. And the documents you would need is, again, status in Canada, your social insurance number, your notice of assessment for prior 2 years, and or any income statements you have to determine your family's net world income for the present year and the 2 prior years. And you would send this application form to Service Ontario. Okay. To get a map of streets and public transportation routes. I always tell newcomers this, anybody who's moving into a new city, to spend part of your time learning about your new city. It's always a good idea to get tourist information about the city you're planning on moving to before you arrive. But if you haven't done it, it's okay. Grab a map of the city you're in now. Maps can be found in public transportation, subway stations for free. Just grab one of the maps, spend a few days looking around the city in a car or use public transit. Act like a tourist and get to know your community. This is actually a great way to find schools, hospitals, banks, convenience stores, grocery stores, community centers, recreation centers, parks, and so many more things near your community. So many more centers, stores, just to learn about your community. This will help you find the best way to travel around the area, learn what activities and services are available, and you will get to see attractions and landmarks. So take a few days and be a tourist and just travel around and learn about your new community. I will talk about settlement agencies later. So when you do get a map, it would be a good idea to find a community health center near you. A community health centers have health services to people. They offer health services to people who do not have an OHIP card. Remember when I talked about applying for health card, I said you're only eligible to receive health card after 3 months of living in Ontario. Well, during that 3 month, when you need any health related services, you can go to a community health center near you. Usually, community health centers offer services for free, but in some, you may have to pay a small fee. Also, community health centers have medical professionals who speak many languages. So if you know anyone, or if you have problems with talking in English, you would be able to communicate to them in your own language. And you will find an employment center close to you. Employment centers would assist you with all your employment-related needs, such as one-on-one assistance with resumes, cover letters, job search, and even mock interviews. So it would be a great place for you to go when you have settled in your community and in your home. And again, locating a public library near you is another great idea, because before your children start school, they would, by taking them to the library and by participating in activities that happen in the libraries, they will make new friends, and it would make it easier for them to transition into their schools. Also, for adults, if you're thinking about credential assessments, or if you're thinking about local places where you can find schools or community centers or services, a library is a good place to start as well. Settlement agencies. What are settlement agencies? Settlement agencies can provide support to help start your life in Ontario. These agencies are community organizations that help newcomers, immigrants, and refugees. As soon as you arrive in Ontario, find a settlement agency near you to help you settle in your new city. You may be staying in the hotel when you first arrive, or at a friend's or family's house. Settlement agencies can help you find your first place to live. They can also help you learn about your new community. You may hear people call these organizations multicultural centers, immigrant serving agencies. These settlement aid services are free and always confidential. At a settlement agency, you can get help interpreting and translating documents, filling out forms and applications, information about other resources in the community, and referrals to places such as food banks, furniture banks, and other services. Settlement agencies can also help you find English classes, a job, training programs, places to buy food, clothes, and furniture at a low cost, like I mentioned before. So that comes to the end of the presentation. But before I go to questions, I would like to let you know that if you have any questions or you need any assistance regarding applying for social insurance number, applying for health card, opening a bank account, applying for child tax benefit, or any other settlement related needs, feel free to always give me a call at 416-757-7010 extension 231, or email me at sdelenhaden@catholiccrosscultural.org. You can always visit our website, www.crosscultural.org, to find a location near you, to see what services we offer, and if you need assistance with anything at all, always feel free to do so. So that's the end of the presentation. Have you taken these steps yet? If you have, then that's great. If you haven't, it's time you start taking these steps, especially applying for health card and social insurance number. It's two things that you should do right away. Okay, let me see if I have any questions for today. Question. Okay, so we have, how do I pay for medical services in the 3 months waiting period? Okay, so like I mentioned before, there are some community health centers that offer medical services for free and for a low cost. You can also look into private insurance. There are insurance companies that have 3-month insurance policies and plans for people who are waiting for their Ontario health insurance plan, health card. So you can look into private insurance as well as community health centers. Another question is, what is the exception for the wait period? Okay, so like I mentioned before, if you are a convention refugee or if the child is born in Ontario, then you don't need to have lived in Ontario for 3 months. That waiting period doesn't apply to them. Okay. Do you need your SIN number before you apply? Do you need your SIN number to apply, open a bank account? You don't need your SIN number per se. If you have 2 documents that I mentioned before to opening a bank account, if you have a driver's license and a permanent resident card, that's 2 identity documents, 2 pieces of IDs. You can open a bank account with that. If you have a health card and a permanent resident, then you can apply for a bank account using these cards. But if you don't have any other, if you only have 1 document with your picture on it, then you would have to use your social insurance number to apply with the permanent resident card you have or a citizenship certificate you have. Okay, that's the end of the questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. We appreciate you being here. I will see you next time. I wish you a successful future in Ontario. Have a wonderful day, everyone.